Dwight Eisenhower, 1890 to 1969. Eisenhower was the supreme Allied commander in Europe in World War II and later the 34th President of the United States. Dwight David Eisenhower, nicknamed Ike, was born in Denison, Texas on 14th October 1890 and brought up in Kansas. Eisenhower graduated from U.S. Military Academy at West Point in 1915. He served in the Army through the 1920s and the 1930s, including a posting to the Philippines in the late 1930s. Shortly after the United States entered World War II, Eisenhower went to work in Washington, where he impressed the Chief of Staff, General George C. Marshall. In June 1942, he was appointed the Commanding General of the European Theater. This was later extended to include the Mediterranean and North Africa. In February 1944, he was named the Supreme Allied Commander of the Expeditionary Forces in Western Europe. He oversaw the successful Allied assault on the coast of Normandy in June 1944 and the Allied liberation of Western Europe. On 7th May 1945, he accepted Germany's surrender and then commanded the US occupation zone in Germany. In November 1945, Eisenhower returned to the US as the Army Chief of Staff. He was made the President of Columbia University in 1948, but in December 1950, he left to become the Supreme Commander of NATO forces in Europe. In 1952, the popularity which Eisenhower had gained during the war helped him win the Republican nomination for the presidency and then the presidency itself.
I believe in the future of the United States of America.
To realize that future, Eisenhower expanded Social Security provisions and instigated the interstate highway system. The interstate highway system was the world's largest construction project in history, and perhaps Eisenhower's greatest legacy. The interstate highway system was instrumental in redefining the American suburban culture and largely the American way of life. Eisenhower was re-elected in November 1956, and he retired at the end of his second term in January 1961. He died in Washington, D.C. on 28 March 1969.